Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and but the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
McSherman is a demon.
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. We've got a lot to go over, so I want to jump right into it. We're just going to talk true crime updates and just true crime news, I guess you could say. There is an alleged accusation of a stalker being involved with a fellow true crime creator here on YouTube. And the situation is blowing up all over the place. It's all over X. It's all over Facebook. It's everywhere on YouTube. I'm sure you guys have seen other people going over it. We have the files from the court and from both sides in this situation. And I'm calling it a situation because it's no longer being processed through the courts. It was dismissed by... Hey, Melly. Melly has been covering this as well. So check out my girl, Melly. Hey, legal-minded friends with Karen, the purple one. Let me know in chat if you guys have seen the full 9-hour stream or if you've seen other people touching on it. I'm just curious where everyone's at. We also have Kohberger updates, and my friend Jay is here. Christine, thank you for becoming a member. It's good to see you guys. Sherry, Denise, Adrian, so glad you're here. Okay, I see people pretty much have seen it. Yeah, on Alex Erickson's channel, she's been covering it. I was over there doing a panel as well. I'm going to pull up my friend Jay. I'm also going to send the link out to Sleuthy Goosey. I think Jen Lou and Alex Erickson, if they're available, they are busy with the grandkids and their kids tonight, but they can have the link as well. We've kind of all been talking about it. Melly, if you want to come up too, let me know. I'll send you the link too. First, like I said, we're going to get to Kohberger. So good evening, Jay. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We've got a lot to go through, so I really appreciate you being here. Let's start with Kohberger. So I think after we did our last Friday live, there were new documents that dropped either that day or the day after. I don't know. We kind of started going through them in the beginning of the week. Hey, Brooks, and everyone else who's here, hit that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. So they were kind of more descriptive in certain images that they were going to use as exhibits at trial. Which is how we kind of stumbled upon. I'm just pulling up the little section that had people kind of like, wait, what's going on? I thought Ethan Chapin was asleep. And, you know, people were like, does this mean that he did have defensive wounds? Even myself, I was like, so does this mean like he was more coherent and more alert? What's going on? These were just some of the autopsy pictures that they pretty much said that they were going to be showing. So that's how we stumbled on this information. So Ethan, close-up wound to his right leg, top of right hands and fingers is what people were really like, okay, so that sounds like it could be defensive. Right hand palm, wounds to the left hand, wounds to inside the left wrist. It's really hard to say 100% without a medical examiner or even the coroner, whoever was there on scene that pretty much could give their medical and professional opinion to these wounds. But from what we can gather now that there is no trial and we just have the plea deal and the documents, I thought that this could mean like, okay, maybe he was trying to kind of fight, or, you know, something was going on. We just don't have a clear picture of what happened that night. And I think we all thought the trial would close up some of that questions, but it hasn't. And while we were kind of questioning this through the internet, and obviously you can tell this was on Reddit that I pulled this from, the sister of Kaylee Goncalves, which was one of the victims, as you guys know, made a TikTok. So I want to share her TikTok. She was also on News Nation speaking on it, but I want to pull up her like information on it because I some people don't have TikTok where they have like YouTube and can watch News Nation. What are your thoughts on just what could appear as defensive or certain wounds on Ethan that kind of go against like him being like asleep and then this kind of occurred?
Yeah, I never thought that he would have ever wanted to do it to anyone who was asleep. I think that he's a sadist, so he would kind of want to see the reaction in their eyes. You know, he'd want them to be very much aware of what's happening. So it kind of confirms, or near enough confirms, the suspicions that I already had. You know what I mean? Like, it answers a lot of questions for us, but then, like we say, it poses further ones.
Yes, because after you hear what Olivia, I know you've probably already seen this, but after what she states, it's kind of like, wait a minute, just the timeline. Like Dylan was asked in the interview that we went over last Friday, how long she thought some of this stuff was kind of lasting that she was hearing. And she said anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes. And that's a significant difference. You know, like you sit somewhere for 10 minutes. It's a little bit different than sitting there for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, we don't really gather much of like an understanding of like how quickly he went up the stairs, you know, and went down the stairs. It's just, I, like you said, it poses more questions because let me play this and then I'll finish that thought. It's just easier.
Brief, but, in regards to some descriptions of autopsy photos that the state had planned to introduce as exhibits, I just wanted to offer a little bit of, you know, my perspective that maybe will help lessen some of the speculation. I need to be very clear. I'm not talking anything specifically about Maddie, about Xana, about Ethan. I don't know anything specifically about them at all whatsoever. So I can only talk to my experiences regarding Kaylee's autopsy and questions that I've had for investigators and everything like that. So I just want to make that really clear. And there's really no easy way to say this. The gag order protected an absolute fucking monster. It's disgusting, but some of the wounds that were made to Kaylee were described as experimental. So a wound that might typically, in its presentation, look defensive, might not have necessarily been defensive because at some point he was inflicting wounds that, I mean, any logical person would know wouldn't be fatal. So I don't want to speculate on, you know, what exactly he was doing, whether it was to, you know, just cause pain or whatnot. Yeah, these wounds didn't necessarily make a lot of sense. They were described to me as experimental. And on Kaylee specifically, there was evidence that he continued the attack after she was no longer even fighting back. So just in light of that, just because there's a wound on a hand or a wound on a forearm or a wound on, you know, a wrist, these really, really classic defensive places, unfortunately, we just can't make that assumption. And even if they were, the body reacts, and there's reflexes to, protect your face, your head, your neck, it doesn't mean that someone wasn't sleeping beforehand, or was just briefly woken. So yeah. Yeah. And also, I want to add just really quickly, I don't want to fucking be doing this, but no one on the state side is standing up and giving details like this. And I get it to some extent, but it's creating like massive amounts of chaos. And I'm tired of ignoring it. So yeah.
So, it was late at night or early in the morning. So it seems likely that maybe they were sleeping.
Sorry.
So that, I don't know. A lot of people in chat were saying that they didn't. I know. I don't think that's the problem too with this plea deal. And we've seen it in other cases too. Like, it almost is like a slow, like, healing process for the victims' families, it seems. Like, I can't speak for them, obviously, but from what I've seen, where it's like, yes, a trial could take years, and it does, you know what I mean? Like, these huge cases take years. We've seen it. But it does seem like the plea deal kind of drags it out even longer, because, like, think about the Jodi Arias trial and other trials that came and went. Like, we kind of get like a feeling of like closure, even if we don't 100% agree. But like, we just don't ever get that, and the families don't seem to be getting that either. So I feel bad that she has to go on there. And that's the thing is, Maba was the coroner who was speaking there, that she, and Olivia included her like quote there, talking about how they must have been sleeping. And I have it in my intro too, where she says they had like each victim had 1 or 2 wounds that were fatal. It makes you have this image of like, oh, wow, that's it. It was just he went in, he did it, got him a few times each. That was good enough. And he quickly got out of there. But then the more we find things out, we're like, it's just way worse than they ever explained it to us as. And this whole experimental thing, it's like, you really start to think, well, then how was there even enough time for him to go and do all this stuff by himself? And, a lot of people have those questions, because it's just, if he's like doing experimental type wounds, he's like enjoying this whole thing. Like, we've talked about him being a sadist. It's clear, but it's like, we've also been kind of painted this whole picture of like, he knew to be quick and all that other stuff, Yeah,
it's this weird balance, I think, between the being effective and pragmatic, and also getting from it what he wants. You know what I mean? Because I think in his mind, it would I'm speculating, but it would probably be like the first time having sex. You know what I mean? Like, you want it to be special, and you put all this, meaning and attachment towards it. You know what I mean? And you put it on this whole pedestal. And I think that that's the whole thing. Like, he wanted to be effective, but at the same time, he needed, like with the experimental wounds, I think that was a form of torture. You know what I mean? To slowly cut somebody is a form of torture, and to just only, break into the skin not so deeply is a form of torture. And that's what I think he was doing. But this is a hang-up of his, clearly. And I think, like what I was saying, it's balancing between being able to do that and actually get out the house in time.
right.
The battle in his mind, the logic and the fantasy, the perversion almost is battling each other out in his head.
And then while he's like having that battle, Xana comes upstairs or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that would explain screaming. You know what I mean? That would explain screaming, someone being pinned down and cut. You know what I mean, by a masked man. That would explain that. And I don't think that he wanted any of this to be quick. You know what I mean? I think he wanted it to all be slow, but I'm not sure how he planned on being able to do them all slowly, if that was even the plan. You know what I mean? Maybe he was only ever going to do one and try and sneak out. You know what I mean? But like we've discussed with Bundy, I think, like what we said, it was more of a recreation of his of Bundy's night at the sorority house.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And 3 was enough because I believe there was 3 in Bundy. Or, well, that's the thing, is like Ethan being in there was totally probably like, whoa, didn't expect this. You know, like you said, like all this anticipation of what you think it's going to be for him, for someone sick like him. Hey, Johnny, thank you for linking that. And if you wouldn't mind linking Jay's channel as well, I appreciate him on.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And like, it's just the way it played out wasn't what he thought, hence leaving the sheath there, you know, the whole situation of whatever was going on, you know, and then he gets interrupted. And then the other news that came out was that is there an echo for anyone else? Sorry.
Is it me?
I don't know. It's me. Okay, now I don't hear it. Now I hear it. Now I don't.
Yes, it must be me then, because I mute and then it goes away.
It's fine now, but if chat hears something, let me know too. Hey, Jen Lou's here. So yeah, anyone who got a link, you know, feel free to join if you want. Okay. I hear that too. I don't know. Now I don't hear it. Hey, Roxanne. But
I think it might be my fan.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, someone said sounded like bees. The other information that came out this week in Idaho was, but basically all I want to say about that whole, what Olivia was talking about is like, now I have more questions as far as the timeline. So I think we're all on the same page there. And even chat was agreeing, like something's strange as far as like how long this took, like if we're throwing in experimental wounds. And then the other information that came out was that he is filing orders so that he doesn't have to pay restitution to the victims' families. And I'm just going to play the last little bit of this from Law and Crime, kind of summarizing it and given their take. This is obviously a legal talking head. I can't remember his name, but he's talking to Jesse Weber, and he's just kind of, what I found was interesting was he's saying, like, as a lawyer, like Ann Taylor and her team, like whoever is doing these filings for him, like they can say no. Like it, and it's interesting. You'll hear him basically say, like, it's interesting that like nobody's like saying no to Kohberger and or like having him get a new lawyer. Like they're all like on board, because the reason that they're saying he doesn't have to pay these families is because they've received GoFundMe money from the public for the expenses of the trial and other things that are kind of outlined for restitution for Brian to pay. And he's going to talk about how this day and age, this restitution pay is interesting and different because we didn't have GoFundMes and stuff like that prior. So he's just talking about the case law might have to be updated, etc. But I just think it's really like low of like him to do this. And then also like, it's interesting that the lawyers are kind of like, okay, like following suit, like behind it, when they don't have, like, they could make him, they could decide that that's like not ethically like what they want to do for him. You know what I mean? And have him find another lawyer to do it.
Yeah. I think there's an element of these people want this for notoriety and prestige in their career. And for him, for Kohberger, it's just another way he can rub salt in the wounds of the families of his victims. And that plays into his sadism, you know, and that this is what is motivating him. Yeah. And these people, these lawyers are enabling that.
Yeah, it's like he's like slowly not letting this be over for them. Like, oh, okay, now that I'm not doing this trial, like, oh, they think I'm just going to shut up and go away. Like, you know what I mean? Doesn't it seem like spiteful and like just continuing this, like, I'm not going to go away. Like, you're going to have to deal with me.
Absolutely. I think that he's in his head, he's got his, you know, time in the spotlight, and he's not going to give it up for anything. You know what I mean? It's the one thing he does have, this notoriety, although it's for bad things, it's still notoriety, and that doesn't, whether it's good or bad is irrelevant to him. You know what I mean? It's that attention that he has that captivates him, that validates the way he's thought about himself for so long.
Particular crime. So a judge does have to make sure that, in fact, the money that's being asked for was paid out of pocket because of this crime.
But does it matter how much money they have or how much they're earning through other sources, whether it's a career?
That's because GoFundMe is such a recent phenomenon in American life. I don't think we have case law on that. The judge is going to have to use his or her best judgment. If I were the judge, I would not look at that money, again, because I know there are so many other expenses out there, but we could get new case law out of this.
And this is a unique case where you're seeing, I mean, if these numbers are correct, a tremendous amount of money that went through a GoFundMe because of the horrible, brutal nature of this crime and how the community and the nation wanted to help these victims' family members. So it could be interesting to see from a legal point of view. What about the argument, hey, listen, he signed this plea deal, the prosecution signed it, right? We all agreed there was a stipulation to the amount that had to be paid as part of restitution. An agreement is an agreement, can't be changed, can't add anything.
Well, everyone who does crimes in Idaho are governed by Idaho law, and so he's going to have to follow Idaho law with respect to victims' compensation. Now, if there's an argument that once you sign this plea deal that you're going to have to pay the fines, the judge ordered fines and some compensation, this is just on top of that. It's all rather academic because, again, it's got this small prison commissary account. I think the state can only take out 20% of it, which in my world, that's a little low. I think maybe that'll be the other way. Maybe let the prisoner keep 20% and let victims take out 80%. But if you choose to do your crime in Idaho, then you're going to be bound by Idaho law.
In the off chance that Bryan-Kohberger has supporters and they give him money, they donate him money, can that go to the restitution fund?
I think it could. And again, I'd have to look at the statute that prevents him from profiting from his crime. I told you these laws have been challenged based on First Amendment over the years. So if it's rather broad, it might not be enforceable, as frustrating as that might be. It's also an odd characteristic of serial killers that they have fan bases. It used to be back in the day, just fans would simply write letters and send photos of themselves. But now they have the ability to raise money and perhaps get it to him. If I'm the judge, I'm going to use that as a pool of money to give to the victims.
Two things. What do you think the judge is going to do here? And is it going to get to a judge? What's the process for this? Is this now going to be a long, protracted battle in the court?
I doubt we see any hearings. This is kind of motion that can be resolved on paper. Each side gets to make their point. The judge will issue an order. I don't imagine this is going to take much court time.
Now, while I have you, there's been some other Bryan-Kohberger updates that I want to talk about. So it was reported that Kohberger had ended up agreeing to plead guilty, and there was a lot of question about why he did this at the time, that he ended up agreeing to plead guilty after the prosecutors had announced that his sister, Amanda Kohberger, was going to be called as a witness, that she was actually, by the way, going to be testifying for the defense as well as a mitigation witness for the sentencing phase. And I think there were probably a number of reasons that Kohberger pled guilty, partly because he couldn't get the DNA evidence tossed out. He was denied the ability to point the finger at other suspects, which I've gone on record and say is pretty disgusting, that he was about to point the finger at other suspects and then pleads guilty like just days later. It's like you knew you were basically pointing the finger at innocent people. But is that something, the timeline, that's interesting to you? I mean, do you think that that was a reason for why he decided to plead guilty? Either he didn't want his sister to have to go through it, maybe he was worried what she was going to testify to. Is that something you've seen in other cases? What do you make of that?
I have seen this in a lot of cases. Defendants often have a cold heart towards their victims, but they also often have a warm heart toward their. When defendants make decisions to plead guilty, particularly several different factors, and with somebody as odd as Bryan-Kohberger.
All right, I think we get the point of all that. But basically, that guy does say, and I saw Sleuthie had a question about, not sure if he could get another lawyer to do that filing about him not having to pay the restitution and all that. I don't know. According to that lawyer on this long crime episode, he said that lawyers can turn down things and step away if they feel that it's like going against their morals or ethics. But I don't know. Anything to add on that, you two? Because I don't know if. And hello, Jen. And
hi, Jen.
Hi, Jay.
Other people have the link as well in case you guys wanted to join Melly or Sleuthie. But hello.
Hey, how are you guys? Hi, chat.
Is my audio okay?
It sounds good to me.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
I got a new mic and I'm like a little bit nervous about it because I'm not sure if I like it or not yet. But anyway, hi.
I feel ya.
So here's the deal with attorneys, because I know this from Sarah Boone, because how many did she have, y'all? 11 billion. What has to happen is they have to file a motion with the court to withdraw. Okay, and they have to tell why they want to withdraw, but there is some protection there because whether or not the judge grants it, their conversations with Kohberger would be protected. They're still part of attorney-client privilege. So they can, because there was an attorney that two, I think, or three of Sarah Boone's attorneys said they cited ethics. And so, yes, they can say ethically no. The problem with that is that the judge at the end of the day has the ultimate say, and judges can decide. It's usually, if they say ethics, usually the judge will let them they'll let them withdraw. But I don't know what the bar is when it's an appellate attorney versus a trial attorney. There might be different. The bar might be a little bit different as far as what it would take to actually be successful in withdrawing. But the things to know about defense attorneys, even appellate attorneys too, is that they've taken an oath. And as long as Bryan is within his rights to file these objections, they will file them for him. What they won't do is things like lie for him. I suspect that the three attorneys that didn't want to represent Sarah Boone anymore is because she really wanted to go with the battered spouse defense. And I don't think they felt ethically that they could do that, because I don't think they thought she was a battered spouse.
I agree.
So, it's a little sticky when it gets at that point, so, it is what it is. They've taken an oath. They're going to, file on his behalf to preserve his rights. I think he's trying to do it. If I'm being honest about it, I think that he's hoping that there will be some kind of deal that comes along for a book or something, even though there's not a specific Son of Sam law in Idaho. There is something very similar to it. And what I think he's trying to do is he's never going to get out of completely paying the victims. But I think what he's trying to do is mitigate how much he has to give over. So, yes.
I agree. And I think it's got nothing to do with how it would affect him financially, because what's he going to do? He's just going to be sitting in prison for the rest of his life. So, it's not like he's really wanting the money so much. I think it's more of a power thing. You know what I mean? I think he wants to, not give him as little as possible, because like what was previously said, I think he really, really hates them and detests his victims and their families. He has to be able to do what he did.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I do think he really has disdain for the victims and their families, and perhaps he's done this in an effort to have some level of commentary on them having a GoFundMe. Because if he's arguing about this, then there could be questions about, well, did they have a GoFundMe? How much did they, it could potentially force them to open up the books. I don't think there's anything wrong with them having a GoFundMe. I think GoFundMes are a good thing. I think that it's up to the people who read the GoFundMe and decide based on their own judgment whether to donate to it or not. If I had money at the time when these GoFundMes were happening, I would have donated to it. I think it was, I think it's a good cause. I think Brian does not. I think he's actually being a little like passive aggressive in this way, potentially. I don't know.
I agree. And like we all know, he doesn't have to pay all this in one big lump. It's going to be over time, and he's got forever for the rest of his life to really pay it off. So,
and more than one victim's family to pay it to.
Exactly. Right. So he's just going to keep
gosh,
dragging it on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Sleuthy Goosey. I was cracking up when she entered the StreamYard as because she's doing the Delphi read through on Criminality's channel. So when she does like,
we can't see because you got the thing.
Oh darn it! No,
Come back,
like Lieutenant Holman's face, and at first I was like, I was concerned, and then I realized like who it was, and I'm like, oh wait, I've only sent the link out to like 4 people.
Yeah, no, I
think she'll be coming back. So we are going to be getting into this hidden true crime situation. It's one of those things where I was like, there we go with the Halloween. I love the picture.
I love it. It's cute.
I'm normal now. Joining us, Sleuthy. You are the real MVP with putting together this spreadsheet. So thank you so much, because it was just too much to kind of go through the 9-hour thing, and then it wasn't as accessible right away. So the way that you put this together in the little time that you had, like, I don't know how you do it.
I was up till like 2:30. It was because it needed to be redacted. If it didn't need to be redacted, then it wouldn't have been a big deal. And I was like, I don't want any more documents unless they come redacted.
Well, thank you so much for putting it together. And yeah, I've been going through it, and I was like, I don't even know where to start tonight. I don't want to read the declarations out loud. I won't do that to you guys. There's a lot of channels that are doing that. So I figure, more power to them to go through them. And honestly, like, I would rather listen to someone else read it than or me read it. Cause I feel like when I'm reading it live, I'm not absorbing it the same way. I did have an idea to put it through my Chat GPT and have them read it. But the only thing that I started with, because it was 13 pages in itself, was Christina's declaration. Christina is the quote stalker of Lauren.
You can refer to her as the respondent, because that's who she is legally.
Okay, I'll try my best.
That way, because I know you don't like calling her that.
Right. And the thing is, like, first off, I want to start off by saying my initial response to this situation was empathy and sympathy, but I had only watched the first 10 minutes when I was like kind of sending the link out. I think I sent it to you, Jen Lou, too. And I was like, have you seen this?
Yes. And I remember exactly what you said. I feel awful.
I feel bad for her, but then I was like, but I still am like, why isn't law and crime allowed to do their job when that's her job in murder cases and stuff, So that was kind of where I stood at first. But at first, I for sure was like hooked with feeling like, wow, this must be some situation. Again, this is before I watched more. This is before I seen who this stalker was, because then Teresa from Criminality sent me this TikTok page of this woman, this brunette girl, and I'm like, what, like, sent her a question mark, I think, and she's like, that's the stalker. And I was like, what? And the more I started going through it, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, this looks like a falling out between two friends, and one of them is afraid of what the other one might come out and say to ruin their reputation that they've built.
Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah, my initial reaction was not that.
I want to hear it. Tell me.
My initial reaction was, this is pretty transparent to me that there's something that she's trying to get ahead of, and we're saying all the buzzwords, and we're throwing our 8-year-old into it, and we're doing all the crying. And when she said that she dropped it, but she was doing the live because she's doing what's right to protect her family, she lost me with that, because I've needed a protective order. And the last thing that I would have done was cancel it and then go public and talk about it to further provoke the person that I say that I'm scared of, and have zero protection at that point, not even the temporary order. And the more that I heard from her, and then the more once I started reading these documents, I was like, that's exactly what's happening. And the number of times that she literally went to where this person was specifically to like get within her personal space so that she could then say that she's being stalked, being harassed, that the temporary orders being violated. It just, the whole thing just made me sick. The only reason I did this and put all these things together was because as someone, like I said, that has needed one before, it made me sick to see all of it.
I'm so glad you did this, though, Sleuth, because this is what I wanted to see. And Amber, if you don't want to read them, I was thinking, I've been on the fence about playing the audio and then doing reading the exhibits and the declarations. But if people want to hear it, I would be willing to do it. Not now, but
no, yeah,
at some point. I know I can see your face because she had messaged me and said, I'm not going to be on long. And clearly there's like 11 million things here. So
I know it. And I did not plan to go through it all tonight. In fact, I had already known that you were probably going to just upload it too, because we're all just digging through this stuff, and the way that Sleuthy has it so organized, it kind of makes sense that somebody would just kind of read through, you know what I mean, without the commentary and stuff. So yeah. Have at it.
Okay.
I'll play Christina's.
Okay.
And then kind of go through some of these like visuals and like what she claims is evidence. So first off, there might be some people in chat who like have no idea what this situation is about or whatever. While I kind of get ready to pull up like a little summary, Jay, do you want to kind of share your initial thoughts when you first kind of stumbled on this? Because I know we talked about it too.
Sure. Thank you for asking. Initially, I felt really bad for her. I kind of felt like, her channel's really one of the more professional ones that, doesn't delve into drama. And I know that same thing was said on Alex Erickson's panel discussing the same thing. And that's basically, how I looked at it. I was like, I took her for what she said, as the truth, because why wouldn't I? Because like I say, her channel doesn't go into drama ever. It's very fact based. It's not clickbaity. So I took her at face value. But then I looked deeper into it and the other sides, and it kind of clicked, because like what was said, mentioning her son and saying, he shouldn't know about any of this. You know what I mean? And like I was saying to Amber, the only way he would know is if she's like, and I said this in Alex Erickson's chat, is if like she's been yelling about it in the house, if like manic about it, and that's just not right. You know what I mean? You don't put these things onto your kids. You know what I mean? I don't have any, but I know that from my own background that it's just not good to just have hysterics around young children, because look how he's taken it. Because as per her own words, it's really affected him, so it's not a good thing.
And the thing that I think is important that I wanted like myself and Jay to kind of share, that at first we felt a certain way, is because that I think it kind of is the theme of like this whole situation is individuals, including the masses. Like when you have as many subs as she has, and you're going on channels that have 6-figure subs as well, like that your message is reaching like the magnitudes. And it's like that saying, like, he who controls the media controls the narrative. It's like if you come out and you have all these subs and you're going live for 9 hours putting out like your side and your narrative and what you want everyone to kind of believe, and like prying on their emotions, like I think that Jay, myself, others involved in this, like including other large channels, I think that we've been and her subs emotionally manipulated, and Jay and I kind of like came out through the other side all in one day. Like I think like we stumbled on it and then also saw through the bullshit like in one day, and then since then, I'm like, we need to make sure that people know like the timeline of these things, these events, because a lot of people have information wrong. And before I even started like looking through the spreadsheet that Sleuthy put together, I was talking to Shay, Shay Benet. You guys might see her in chat and on channels she mods. I on Messenger, I said, I just want to make sure I get this timeline right before I go live. Some people have no idea about this situation, some in chat. So I just want to make sure I can kind of summarize things before we dig into the spreadsheet. And I said, so when Lauren put the TPO on Christina, that was before CrimeCon, right? And she says yes. And then I said, okay, I want to get the timeline right. And I said, however, Lauren had said that she wasn't going to go to CrimeCon, right? And then Christina bought her ticket months prior. And then last minute, Lauren decided she wanted to go. And Lauren is from Hidden True Crime, in case those don't know. The respondent is Christina, but I might call her Christina this whole time. So I said, so who confronted who first at CrimeCon? Lauren went to a bar or restaurant that Christina was at, or no? And this is what Shay said. And I think this is like the best rundown. It's around like 4 minutes, not even.
Hey girl, thought an audio would be easier. So basically, what happened was Lauren went and filed for this ex parte TPO against Christina. Somebody, according to the police on the camera, body cam footage at CrimeCon when they served Christina, said that their office was contacted a couple days before. We don't know by who just yet. So, on Thursday evening, I believe, is when Christina had already left and was at CrimeCon, and her husband was home and he was served with the order. He sent a picture of it to Christina, and in the body cam, Christina talks about how she tried to reach out to the Aurora Police Department to get some guidance. She didn't hear back from them, so she goes to CrimeCon on Friday, and Lauren and them wait outside CrimeCon waiting for Christina to be served physically. And even the police said that she had to be physically served. So what happened that was in the declarations that was interesting was that Christina had purchased her tickets for CrimeCon back early of this year. Lauren was well aware of it because they had talked about it. And then Lauren wasn't going to go to CrimeCon. She's even said that to multiple people. And then getting closer to CrimeCon, she goes on her YouTube channel and makes an announcement that she's going to go. And she was just going to the awards because of the Delphi stuff. She didn't have a booth. She wasn't working, nothing of the sort. So Lauren basically used this to her advantage to trap Christina and make a fool out of her and try to get her arrested. And so, I mean, I think Christina's and her people's declarations kind of best state it, because Lauren left out a lot of holes. And even Joe Schmo, when he was on Queens, made comment that he had been with them that night, and him and Negan, because they were in Web Sleuths, they were the ones that were videotaping and taking pictures of Christina. So they were stalking Christina. And Joe Schmo said that they moved multiple times to get closer. And Queen and Jay were like on panel, and they go, get closer to what, Joe? And it was getting closer to Christina. And then in one of the declarations, a former Orange County officer told, I think it was Lindsay, one of the friends, that he said that you should probably be aware that you may be being stalked. And he pointed her out, and it was Grayson. And so Grayson had been like running around trying to like contact them, get close to them, acting really fucking creepy. So really the stalkers, in my opinion, after taking all of this shit in, were actually Grayson and Lauren. So, but I think like in terms of the best coverage I've seen.
So that was her summary for those who don't know the little bit of background. And Sleuthy, was there anything you wanted to add before we kind of get into Christina's declaration?
I agree with all that, but I also want to say that, and obviously my comment on the screen, but I also should have probably said that going into watching her 9-hour live, my only kind of interaction with her was when she copyright struck me. And that was when she did the interview. She did one interview with Jerry Holman from the Delphi case. And I actually want to say that that was the first interview that he did after the sentencing. And it was like maybe an hour long. I did 2 lives doing an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I'll give her an hour and a half. 2 like 3-hour lives, maybe even 4 with Teresa to cover an hour and a half interview. That's how often we were stopping for commentary. 90% of the commentary was entirely about Jerry Holman. And she copyright struck me for both.
Wow. For fair use, which is protected under free
Did you
speech,
appeal it,
etc.
Sleuthie?
So I did. I did the like the counter claim or whatever. And so she went to a copyright claims board to file a complaint there, which you can do instead of filing in the federal courts. And it will basically keep the strike there. So I got it, and I was like, I work full time. I am a single mother. I literally have no time to be sitting here looking up case law, writing up. Like, I just don't care enough. Like, the people who were going to watch it were watching it live.
Yeah.
And I don't have the time or the patience. I'm not going to go back and forth with her. But I did pull it up while you guys were talking. And she literally, it's funny because the things that she was saying in that 9-hour live, like, yeah, criticize me and criticize my work all you want. I don't care. And I just thought that's just simply not true, because you put that in the complaint, was that you were annoyed that I was criticizing you. So, yeah.
Wow.
Wait, back the milk truck up. Back it completely up, put it in park, and take the keys out the ignition. Copyrighted material, if you're doing a copyright complaint, okay, what you want, is to say this person took my original content, my work, and they did not use transform. It has nothing to do with criticism.
I'll tell you
Because
exactly
as
what
you
she
know, YouTube was founded on criticism and critique and opinion. It started out something else initially, but it was very short, and then it became YouTube. Why?
That's bullshit.
Would you ever put, I don't like what she said? Get out of here, Lauren.
Right.
Now, Lauren, I
That's
tried
the
to give you
reason to
every damn
appeal.
benefit of the doubt, ma'am. And here you go doing my girl Sleuthie Goosey dirty.
And you know what's even dirtier is, I'm sorry, but now that I'm hearing this, like, the fact that she went on her channel and criticized Olivia Goncalves' victim speech, and like she's over here copy striking channels who are just criticized, like, legally and fairly, right?
Criticizing a police officer, a public official.
There's something, just very unhinged.
So it's not long. I'll tell you what she wrote. She wrote that I, on my YouTube channel, played our entire video on her YouTube channel over 2 separate live streams. She took our content, which we wrote, directed, and produced entirely on our own from our YouTube channel, Hidden True Crime, which, what do you mean you wrote, directed, produced? Like, you were doing an interview. So did you script the entire interview? Like, was his answers scripted as well? That the whole thing was like written by you like a book?
Like Dateline? Girl,
yeah. And I said, she said, and then played it on her own channel so the viewers would watch her channel instead of ours. It is identical to ours, except she talked out loud while streaming our video so that she could claim it was commentary, when in fact it was not commentary, and certainly not educational, as proven by her choice to title the videos Pig Roast Part 1 and Part 2, which I feel like anybody that has any kind of sense of humor would have knew exactly what that joke was about. It had nothing to do with Lauren.
Right.
And encouraged her viewers to come to her channel so that they could watch our video. Then it says, a description of harm suffered and relief sought. The harm is that viewers were not watching the video on our channel. Keep in mind, my channel has 12,000 people, 15,000 people. She has over 250,000 people. Okay.
Oh my
Viewers were not watching the video on our channel. Rather, they were watching the video on the Sleuthy Goosey channel instead. Not only was the Sleuthy Goosey channel stealing our work, she was also encouraging hatred by titling her live stream of our work Pig Roast and spouting harmful and false narratives about hidden true crime and the subject of the interview video. This led to many online narratives and posts being created about hidden true crime that were simply untrue. The relief we are seeking is that the streams of our video interview not be posted on the internet again. And what she's talking about, the posts that were made that were simply untrue and encouraged hatred, was not the fact that I did the streams, because the streams were taken down basically immediately.
Right, because
It was
of the
that
copyright
she
claim.
copyright struck me, and then people were making posts about the fact that she copyright struck it.
It's all crazy to me. I think she doesn't I don't think she claims to know all about law, but I don't think she's read any of the Constitution. People have civil liberties. People have the right to criticize and to critique and to give commentary on things. And what you did was complete fair use. Her claims are completely bogus, and it's an abuse of the process, and it's the same pattern with what we have now. It's a pattern. It's an abuse of the process, because just because she doesn't like something or something someone might say, it doesn't give her this power to where she can wave a wand and the law is on her side. It just, and then when it doesn't work out in her favor, because it won't, because these are laws, protections for a reason, she plays the victim, and it's not on.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Wow. Because the way that was worded that you just read really makes it seem like you guys were cyberbullying, just tearing her apart in your live stream.
When I tell you, and I would be totally honest, because now, I'll say whatever I want to criticize Lauren, because now I have reasons to criticize Lauren, in my opinion. But 95, if not 98%, I remember calling them hidden germs. That's where that came from. But other than that, all of our criticism was to Jerry Holman. If we criticized her at all, it was that she was asking questions that A, either had already been asked over and over and over again over the course of 8 years, or B, she wasn't asking questions that were or follow-up questions that were to make him expand on the things that he was saying, and it was all just very surface level. But other than that, the entire criticism was about Jerry Holman. Just like now we're doing the depositions. The entire criticism is about Jerry Holman.
That's what makes it even more funny.
Now I kind of don't want to do the whole reading of this, because I don't need her,
Well, these aren't hers.
Right.
These are not her documents. They
but
are the
can't
court's.
she? I know, but look, here is Christina saying some things, right? And because I would read those declarations, and I would give commentary. I cover trials.
Yeah.
Now, do I fly my ass all over Hell's Half Acre to cover them? No, I do not. I ain't trying to do all that business. I sit with my audience and we talk about what's going on in the moment live. Okay. That's what I do. I do other stuff too, but you guys know. Anywho, that's not the point. I don't need. I don't know. I have to think about it.
I don't. What
She can't.
People have already read, Jay for Justice or whatever, and Melly, everyone's.
I know. So now I'm sort of thinking okay, because it's already been read, what would be the even point of me even talking about it? Anyway, to begin with, I'll think about it. I really am trying. What I need to be doing is finishing those videos, and I need to stop finding new and exciting rabbit holes to go down to keep me from doing what I'm supposed to be doing, aka procrastinating. So
I can relate.
Yeah.
This all just popped up. I wouldn't have even had anything to do with it had it not been for the fact that she spent the entire 9 hours.
You can't ignore it.
Just telling her side, which annoyed me.
Right.
Yes.
And then on top of it, once I heard the court audio and I heard what the judge said, I was like, she literally in 9 whole hours did not mention that they had already had a hearing and that the judge had said that to her. So it became quite clear that somebody probably said to her, listen, girl, this is not going to go down the way that you think it's going to. You're going to have to testify. It's going to be in front of everybody. I think if she thought that she had a legitimate case and was probably going to win, that she would not have cared if Law and Crime was there to film it.
I
Right.
agree. I think if she knew that was the case, she'd want them there because it would
Absolutely.
favor her whole cause and gain more
Yes.
sympathy. Like
Yep.
like what her live did. You clearly were too wise for that, but for me, it got me. She
Sure.
did a number on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was an easy mark. It felt like, and I feel like a fool. But I guess it's a lesson in learning. Always look at both sides. You know what I mean? Even if someone is getting emotional about something, they might be lying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know
She might be upset about something else that she doesn't want exposed more than she's upset that this girl's making these TikToks, which this was the first TikTok that got sent to me. And I was like, question mark, like in response, because I'm like, well, why do I care?
Little Mike, seriously. How is somebody who's holding this dainty little Mike
in a car?
You know, in a car. What is she? I mean, I said it the other night on Allie's, and I'm going to say it again. These TikToks were not created for the general public. Christina has a TikTok with 50,000 subscribers, or what do you call them? Followers, 50,000 followers. If the TikToks were intended to expose Lauren to the public, she would have used that account. She could have just switched. She could have switched the accounts. And here's the other thing. You can always take your content off of TikTok. So even though it was an art channel, or really about her work, she had a good following. And all she would have had to do was post one expose and then use that one expose to direct people to this other account. That's it. That's all. It's very simple. Everybody knows how to do it. I have a GED. I know how to do it. Okay. It ain't that deep. I think that these TikToks were really for Lauren herself. I think what Christina's message was, the majority of them. Now, I will say I did not agree with the story about her brother being told. I think that went too far. I think it was extra petty. I think it was extra nasty, and it was foul, and she shouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. I just agree with it. But
I agree, but she can.
She can.
Point.
It's not illegal.
It's not a crime.
That's it.
Right.
Correct. It's not illegal. Is it petty? Yes, it is. Would I do it? Hell no. Could I legally do it? Hell yes, I could.
Right.
Okay. Just because you can don't mean you should, is my point.
Right.
And I think it's also important to note, like, if you guys have ever had like a really close friend and you have a falling out, like it's like a breakup in a relationship, like people are hurt. People are going to do things out of their emotions. And that's all I saw in these TikToks.
Right.
Like a hurt ex-friend.
Exactly. And think about this. Before there was social media, friendships fell apart. And you know what they did? You know what girls do? They go to all the girls and be like, let me tell you what Jen said about you on February 8th, 1993. She said you were a bitch.
Yeah. And
here's the thing. I would tell those girls, you know what? On February 6th, 1993, I probably did call you a bitch. You know why? Because you were probably being a bitch.
Right.
I said it, show did. Do I mean it today? No, but that's how girls did it.
It's her inability. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, like, with that in mind, that all this talk with other people who were ex-friends and, because Lauren kind of says that. And then she's getting a hold of other people who I had. For one, why do you have so many falling outs with people? For two, it are the things that are being said about you true? She said in her 9 hours, I'm being accused of cheating with some detective in I forgot what case.
I think all that stuff that she knows is part of the things that are going to come. I think she was sending like subliminal messages to lay groundwork for if this stuff comes out.
Yeah.
Like the fake text messages. She showed us how to make fake text messages. It's like, why are you telling us this? Like, you're going to make me either think, okay, so how do I know the text messages you're showing me aren't fake? Or B, so if text messages come out, then they're probably fake because she's saying that they know how to do that. And so
this is PR 101. This is no different than when you go when there are two suspects in the cop shop. Whoever talks first gets the deal. So nobody knew about this girl's TikTok. It was completely random and completely obscure. Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't give a rat's fat. Grayson, stop playing. There's a reason why, if you're telling the truth, and I have no proof otherwise, but we all know how the tickety talks, the YouTubes, all the things work, the algorithm. If this came up on your For You page,
I'd have no
there's a-
clue who she was talking about at all.
Right. But Grayson said how she found it was it came up on her For You page. There's a reason it came up on your For You page.
Right.
And I don't know, it's the algorithm, and it has something to do with what you were following previously.
And liking and commenting.
Correct.
And on
it has
that
to
note,
do with
where people are
it's
talking
also
about.
important to note that Lauren's name is never mentioned.
Right.
In these
And
TikToks.
I've never seen any hashtags, but let me just point this out as well. It also has to do with the way this person set their TikTok up. If you, and the way that another person's TikTok is set up, because there are ways for TikTok to add your contacts, and they will do it automatically. Whatever it has to do with a lot of different things, the permissions you give TikTok. We all know how it works. Stop playing with these people, okay? But I have to go because I got the nuggie, and I can hear her in there. She's singing to the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh God.
No problem. I'm glad you joined us for a little bit.
But I want to talk about
this.
this with you so bad,
will.
Amber. I don't know what to do. Maybe we'll have a live. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a live. I haven't been live in like a month.
There's a lot to touch on with all this. Like, I know that we're not even going to scratch the surface of it, which I kind of figured, but
yeah,
we'll follow up on
all
your
right, maybe
channel
we'll
and
do
Allie's
that.
and-
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll do some follow up after, because we were on Allie's and you're gonna do this. So maybe we'll just do like we'll see. All right.
Honestly, I think somebody should read through all this stuff without it being
No
alive.
commentary. You don't even need commentary.
Yeah, just
All
read
right.
through it. Like,
do I have the voice? Who wants to hear this voice for 80 billion documents? I don't know. I'll think about it.
Yeah,
like NK's voice.
Oh yeah, do it in NK. Your NK is something else. Like,
yeah.
Leave Jim alone.
Thank God you don't go into the baby voice she does in the police interview.
I don't know how to do it. Can you help me?
It's so performative, and
I hate her. I should have dogs in the background reacting. All right, I'm gonna go. You guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for stopping by, Jen Lou.
We'll talk soon.
You're welcome.
So, again, these TikToks. Which one do you think is the worst one? Like, which one? Because this right here. Let me just play this. This has nothing to do with stalking.
Suspicions for months, but it took me way too long to realize that almost everything this ex-friend told me was a lie. She had friends who ended their friendship with her 2 months into the start of my friendship with her. Afterwards, she would casually say things like, "Man, if my text messages between them were ever released, that would be bad." But you know how we all view things through our own lens? I brushed it off. I'd laugh and say, "Oh, girl, I'm sure you have nothing to worry about." Because honestly, if my texts ever got released, they'd just expose how terrible I am at even reading or replying to texts. But here's the thing. What was she actually worried about? That involved other people. And until they're ready to share their side, I'm going to leave that part alone for now. Just know it was really bad. It was freaking bad. It was bad. Out was my final straw. The red flags had been stacking up for months, but this confirmed everything. I knew I didn't want that energy or that type of friend in my life. So I decided next time I saw her in person, I'd confront her. And when that moment finally came, what happened next? I've really never experienced anything like it. I had suspicions for months, but it took me way too long to realize that almost everything this ex-friend told me was a lie.
All right. So
she had friends who ended their friendship with her.
This is just one of the TikToks, and I can understand why people are like, but all the videos about her, it's unhinged. It's not something I would do. But again, is this considered stalking when her name's not involved? I mean, nobody even knows who this girl's talking about.
Exactly, it's not stalking, and she can't even. There's nothing that can be actionable because she's absolutely not given anything away that can indicate who she's even talking about unless you know them. You know what I mean? Unless you know both of them. So yeah, it's just her giving her opinions. You know what I mean? And it doesn't fall under like directed harassment or anything, because it's not directed at anyone. It's nameless.
So apparently they are going live. They haven't spoke like since they dropped this a week ago. They're going live in 25 minutes. Of course, we can't stream them because she will strike us.
Oh, but she did go live after she did her 9-hour live. She just went live to her Patreons.
Oh, right. Live on Patreon.
And laughed about the whole situation. Waved to her stalker and all that
about
crap.
it.
Yes. Yeah. And did you guys, I wasn't aware of this because I don't have Patreon, but like you can see your members to the point where like you can block them. Like I can't
100%.
block.
And
I
that's
can't
exactly
block
what I'd be
people
doing.
from watching. Exactly.
Yes.
They don't have her blocked on their Patreon. They know that she's still on there, able to watch.
And they keep getting her membership dues or whatever they are, whatever they pay for your members, like whatever they're called. And I'm here to tell you, this constant like going around and like when I got my protective order, just the temporary one, I couldn't even go to the grocery store. Like I was so afraid that I was going to run into him or somebody in his family or anybody that he knew. Like I was absolutely paranoid. In fact, to the point where one time I was at a gas station and I saw a car, like as I was paying, I saw a vehicle outside the door to the gas station and I swore it was his parents. I literally called the lawyer and was like, I need to get out. I need to get an order for them too. I just saw them at the gas station. They're following me. Like it made me absolutely paranoid and terrified to even leave my house. And the time I did, I thought that I was being followed. And I did drop it once. Like
that is real fear.
They pulled the gas station camera and everything, and they were like, "It's not them." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, then drop it. But I really thought that it was. But I dropped it as soon as I realized it wasn't. You know what I mean? And so to go places and then be like filming that, it's just so bizarre to me. I wouldn't go anywhere where I even thought that he might think you might want to go. You know what I mean?
Yep,
it's so odd.
So I feel like since they're going to be going live and like we haven't really even gone through this spreadsheet, I think what I want to do is just have ChatGPT read out loud Christina's, aka the alleged stalker, which by the way, like how dare she go 9 hours calling her the stalker and on other huge, humongous platforms calling her a stalker when she decided to withdraw this legally?
Yep.
She's
absolutely
not, you know,
she didn't give the woman a chance to defend herself, you know, in a court. So now she's erring it in the battle of public opinion, which I think she naively thought with her, you know, pulling on the heartstrings that she just win and that anything against her would just be dismissed. And that hasn't happened. I think people now are more objective than they have been in the past 5-10 years.
And I'll say the turtle boy, he said something and I was like, you know what, having my experience with her with the copyright strikes and stuff, he made it, someone said something about, because when people started like reviewing her live, I thought, oh dear God, like there's going to be strikes everywhere. Like she didn't strike a single person. And I thought that's really weird. And then when he started reviewing it, he made a comment. Somebody said something like, she's now going to come after you for harassment. This is going to be, you know, because you're criticizing her and stuff. And he was like, she's not going to come after me. I have too big of a platform. She goes after these small people that like won't defend themselves, can't defend themselves, don't have the following to defend themselves, don't have the reach for people to hear their side of the story. She's not going to do anything to me. And I thought, you know what? That's exactly what she did. Like I told you, I don't know if it's 12 or if it's probably 12,000 people. And what, maybe 500 people were like in my live to see those videos. Like the people that were going to watch her interview with him are going to watch it on her channel.
Exactly.
The people that are never going to watch her channel are the ones that were watching it on mine. That's it. Like I didn't take any viewers from her.
Right.
All
and
of
YouTube is so large. YouTube is so large. Like we don't even share, like me and Teresa, like I don't even think like we might share like maybe 30 of the same subs or maybe a couple hundred, like because we do have like thousands following us, but like it's so large that like we can cover true crime, her and I, and like I see totally different crew in her chat, and
Yeah.
it's totally fine. We're both getting support from like the whole world, in
Right.
our own little corners. Like, it's not that serious. And for her to have as many subs as she does and worried about, it's because she's threatened by you, Sleuthy.
I
Well,
agree.
she
You're an
didn't.
intelligent, beautiful woman who is very, detail oriented, which you need to be in this field. Well, I know that you don't consider yourself, or do you consider yourself true crime creator?
No, not really.
But the thing is like she does, and like you're, even though you don't even consider yourself like in the same like whatever, she's threatened by you. Is what this
Because we're
boils down
talking
to.
about the same stuff, I guess.
Yes, and you have such good research, and she probably has to try a little harder or get people to help her, which clearly it
Well,
seems
and that's always been the thing.
thing.
Like, I'm the helper. Like, I'm that. Like, if you're not an asshole to me, like, I put the stuff out there so that people can use. So, like, bigger creators go ahead and use it as a resource. Like, I'm not trying to be in competition with anybody. I
Right.
just don't want to click on a channel and start watching something and it be full of misinformation or even disinformation if the actual information is available. So I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
just going to give you like the information, the actual information from court filings and stuff, and encourage you to like tell the truth. So it was just bizarre to, it's just so, the whole thing is so bizarre to me, and it was very obvious what was going on. And I think part of what you said was true about not giving her the opportunity to say her part. I think that was also part of the decision not to go through with the hearing,
Bingo.
because then at that point the only story that everyone's getting is Lauren's. And let's really think about it. Even if this girl decided to go live on her TikTok and start talking about her side of the story, how many people are really going to see it?
Exactly. And then she's got all of her followers who have like immense sympathy for her already, and then she's tugged on their heartstrings. I'm not even a regular viewer of hers. Like, I knew of her based on Amber and other creators playing clips from her show and stuff and reacting to them and stuff, and other things like that. And I knew her mainly around the Karen Reid trial and her coverage of that. But like, yeah, like she's got all them fans, all them subs who are going to go, if they do see this, they'll go and attack the woman. You know what I mean? And there'll be a lot more of that.
Which
and
is
then that will allow
ironic.
her to-
And they have.
She said literally near the end of her 9-hour stream, and I don't believe in cancel culture, so don't go and spread hate over the it's like,
Sure.
now
Sure.
you're going to
She doesn't
throw that
believe in-
disclaimer in here?
Really? Like, you've called her stalker
Right.
over 400 times this entire time. And something else that I want to say, and you might not have watched them yet, like the videos of them at like the restaurant, I guess in Boise was what it was. Watching that on my own without Lauren butting in and doing whatever she wanted to do, like watching it just on my own. It's 2 parts, and it really seemed really like manipulative. Like, Lauren seemed fine. She seemed fine. In fact, she probably seemed a little angry. Okay. And she's filming this and trying to be sneaky about it. And then come to find out, like in other declarations, like on Lauren's side, Grayson didn't even know that Lauren was recording her at that time. So when they were sitting at the table, and in the second part, Grayson's like all beside herself, and I just trying to eat, and they're following me or whatever. Like, she didn't know that Lauren was filming her. And looking at the text messages between Grayson and Lauren, just the way she responds to Grayson, it all rubbed me very wrong.
I agree.
Like, how's that making you feel? Write it down in your journal or something. It just
Yeah.
was all very strange to me.
It's
And
exactly how I thought it was with it confirmed she was exactly how I thought she was going to have been with Grayson. Like, making it a problem when it isn't a problem, because she wants it to be a problem because it helps her case in. I've got this 24-year-old young girl. She's all distraught over this stalking, when really Grayson probably would have this is a bit unpleasant, but forgotten about it within half an hour max, and not given it a second's thought. But because Lauren's like, oh, write it down in your journal. Do you need to talk about this with me? Do you need any help? Do you need me to, it's implanting this idea that she's, really, she's really been through it. You know what I mean? When it isn't anything.
And I think that a lot of her anxiety is caused by Lauren.
Absolutely.
I think that,
Absolutely.
So come to find out, and like, I want to say it was Christina's declaration. There's parts that say like that Grayson, when they knew each other, was already struggling with like anxiety and stuff like that. And so I think that was used by Lauren to like perpetuate her anxiety and like make it worse. And then on top of it, she makes Grayson do stuff that she like doesn't want to do. She makes Grayson call the police for her.
Yep.
She makes Grayson follow these people around and take pictures of them and stuff. And that one declaration where, and I think you said this, Amber, or it was somebody I've listened to like a ton of streams today, people I've never even seen before. And there's a comment there about like an ex-police officer or something at CrimeCon that literally went up to one of these people and was like, somebody's following you. And it turned out to be Grayson.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, so you have this girl here with you. She does whatever you tell her to.
Yeah.
And she's going to, because you're her source of income, right? Her only source of income. I have also just found out that, and I guess I didn't really realize it, that Grayson's like basically living with her, whether they're in like hotels or whatever. It's so manipulative. And that
seems kind of culty to me, like coercive control. Like Grayson, I think she's young. You know what I mean? Like people think 24 is a lot older than it really is, but like she's still young. You know what I mean? So she's still like maturing, and like what you said, she already had the anxiety. So this is really like predatory to me.
And she seems very isolated. Like he has isolated her.
And you know what's crazy? This is something I said to Shay, which I don't know if you guys remember like my coverage of this or if you guys followed this, but the Jody Hildebrand and Ruby Frankie dynamic in that case.
Yes.
This is what it's reminding me of. And Lori Vallow and her little minions, Zulema and Melanie Gibb. Like it's crazy because Lauren has covered those cases and they're both like Midwest. There's LDS ties to both of it's just crazy. Something that I noticed, like just from like we've all said about Grayson, young, impressionable. Some of those videos, there was lemon drops, alcohol drinks all over the table, and she's recording her, and it's like Grayson is making these statements like under the influence also.
Absolutely.
And she's like in that Boise one, she's like zooming in across the street, and then she's like, we're afraid to even leave. Just like exactly how I'm saying it. Like, we're afraid to even leave. Like it's no big deal. Like, ma'am, do you understand? Like, if I would have seen my ex-husband across, even if he was down the street, if I saw someone that looked like him, I would be like grabbing someone's jacket and running as fast as I could out of there so that like he didn't see me. Like, there is no way I'd be sitting there like, now I'm afraid to leave. No, I'm afraid to stay. I'm afraid to be here.
Yes.
It's horrible.
So just before they go, apparently they're not going live. It's just a premiere. So this is all been pre-recorded and edited.
Exactly.
Yes. More scripts.
I hope she has my spreadsheet. I hope she pulls it up. I'll strike her. Can I strike her if she does?
Right?
If she puts my spreadsheet on the screen, I would lose my channel.
I would love it if you, if it did get to that and you just copy and pasted everything that she did in her copyrights.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
She was insulting to you, and it caused you immense anxiety, and you had like emotional damages, and
I felt threatened. Nonsense. I thought she was going to try to take over my Google Drive. I was getting random requests for security pins.
Like, I mean, also stated, I don't know if you guys caught this part, and Melly, let me know if you heard it. She said something about in the 9-hour stream that she wakes up and one of the first things she does is, besides check her phone, is check her cameras. Had Christina ever even been to her state?
Probably not.
No. And you know what else I noticed since you said that? A lot of the complaints from the very beginning. So if you go to like the Henderson police report from like June, from the very beginning, it was other people, not Christina. So it's like,
Mhm.
you know, Jennifer, Julian, Stacy, and I'm thinking that they are the ones that are releasing my text messages. And then that kind of gets brushed off. Then she talks about extortion. And then the cop's like, there's no evidence of extortion. Then it's, oh, maybe it's Christina. And now it's all about Christina. But a lot of the things she's complaining about, a lot of the exhibits and stuff, are other people, not Christina. And she doesn't have orders against those people.
It's crazy. It's absolutely like, sorry.
No, I was just wondering if it had anything to do with what we were kind of saying, like Utah's statute of the definition of stalking, whereas like she thought, like, instead of going after these other people whose state might not have fallen into this like more broad category, even though the judge still was like, no, like it's free speech, or just because someone doesn't like what you're doing and they state it on their social media, it doesn't constitute, stalking. But I don't know. It was just something that we were kind of wondering if it had anything to do with Christina being in Utah and their like huge, broad, like definition of what they consider stalking.
Oh, and also I'll say this. Her and Grayson are basically together all the time. The text messages to me look like I guess scripted is the word that I'm going to use.
Makes sense.
Make sure you say this. Make sure you say this. And a lot of the times, like, Lauren doesn't even respond. And like I said, when she does, she gets like like at one point, it was like 2 a.m. and Grayson's like, I'm panicking or whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, so I guess you're not together. And she's like, I'm panicking. Well, then there's like no break in time. So you know how like if somebody texts you at 2 a.m. and then you don't wake up till 9 a.m. and then you text them back at 9 a.m. It's been a certain number of hours. So it's going to say today at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
There wasn't that. It was just, I'm just seeing this. And it's like, okay, well, so there's no new timestamp. So how much time passed? And if you guys are both scared, like you would think you would give your friend the courtesy, care, compassion to like be available to them, especially when they're so wound up because of you.
Exactly. It's so bizarre. Like none of her actions completely contradict every single one of her claims in there. The fact that she the definition sure is broad, but I think the whole process of what she was doing was just throwing as much mud at the wall and seeing if it sticks, and none of it has. And this she's caused her own downfall, and she's pissed, because it's because of her. She knows deep down she can't blame anyone else because these are her words. You know what I mean?
It's just gonna keep going. Like whatever she has to say tonight, people are going to tear apart again.
100%.
Unless she comes out and says, like, I'm sorry, I tried to emotionally manipulate.
Come on.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So before that happens, let me play. This is pretty much going to be a read through of Christina's declaration, because I think it's important at this point to really get her side of things out there, Christina's side, because of the mass numbers that Lauren has used to her advantage. And again, it goes back to that old saying, like, he who controls the media controls the narrative. If you're the first one, and if you have the numbers behind you and you're going on channels that have the numbers, like it just is, it's awful. Like when it comes down to like the fact that there's just the evidence on the evidence list was a joke.
Absolutely.
So again, you guys, it's just going to be a read through of ChatGPT. So I'm going to play it. Hold on.
Excellent. I'll begin now. Below is part.
Oh, I love it.
Full redacted word-for-word transcription. Everything identifying has been replaced with redacted, but formatting, paragraph numbers, and legal structure are preserved exactly. I, redacted, do hereby state and declare as follows. 1. I am over the age of 18 and am competent to testify in this matter. 2. I have personal knowledge of the facts stated herein. 3. I make this declaration in conjunction with the petition for civil stalking injunction. The petition Filed by redacted Matthias.
No.
4. Specifically, but without limitation, this declaration addresses the allegations contained in the declaration of redacted, the Your Declaration, and the documents referenced therein, and the declaration of redacted, and the second declaration of redacted, the Matthias declarations, and the documents referenced therein. Background 5. I met redacted in April 2024. 6. Redacted holds herself out as an ex-reporter, journalist, and podcaster, dealing primarily with true crime cases. 7. Is a public figure. She and her husband run a YouTube channel, Redacted, that has approximately 317,000 subscribers. Her Instagram account has over 20,000 followers.
320 now.
Over 56,000 followers. 8. For several months, I communicated regularly with Redacted, and we became friends. 9. Throughout that time period, I noticed certain red flags that suggested Redacted's credentials and public image were inaccurate. 10. For example, Redacted described to me interpersonal problems with her friends and in-laws based on accusations of theft and fraud. 11. I also learned information that caused me to question Redacted. His ethics in obtaining and handling confidential information. 12. During this time period, multiple people expressed concern about Redacted's conduct. 13. At approximately the same time I became friends with Redacted, I also became friends with Redacted and Redacted, who had been friends with Redacted for a year prior. I also became friends with other women who were acquaintances of Redacted, including Redacted. My friendship with Redacted ends 14. I communicated with, traveled with, and was invited to events with Redacted from April 2024 through the winter of 2024. Redacted also invited me to her house while I was on a work trip in Las Vegas, Nevada. Also invited me and my family to her home to swim in her pool when we were driving from Utah to California. 15. Asked me to perform some graphic design work for her and or her husband's businesses, which I did at a significant discount given our friendship. 16. By January 2025, my friendship with Redacted was beginning to wane, and we communicated less frequently. 17. I sent Redacted a final invoice in March 2025 for the graphic design work. A copy of the invoice and correspondence related to my rate is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D1. 18. By that point, I was no longer communicating on a regular basis with Redacted or spending time with her as a friend. 19. On April 9th, 2025, I saw Redacted at the courthouse in Maricopa County, Arizona, after Redacted called out to me to get my attention. 20. Redacted ran toward me, calling my name, and with her arms out, signaling that she wanted a hug. 21. While hugging Redacted, I stated that I had read some of the negative statements Redacted had made about me and others, and that I had seen evidence of her efforts to harm others and their businesses. 22. Redacted insisted that we talk right then and there, even though I was hesitant because Redacted appeared to be in an elevated fight, flight, freeze state. Part 2 will continue from paragraph 23 onward.
All right.
Conversation, text
Hold on, it's still going.
and subsequent incidents. Would you like me to continue immediately with part 2?
Yes. Hold on. This is the problem with AI. It's like, of course, I want you to continue. Hold on, guys. It's loading.
Excellent. I'll begin now. Below is part 1 of the full redacted word-for-word transcription. Everything identifying has been replaced with redacted,
Hold on.
but formatting,
Hold
paragraph
on.
number.
No, we want part 2. Sorry, guys.
Excellent. I'll begin now. Below is part 1 of the full redacted word.
One second, guys. I'm fumbling my little phone. But this is much easier than reading it out loud, guys. So basically, you see that they meet up. She confronts Lauren at a hug and basically says, I heard about the mean things you've been saying about me. Hold on. Load.
Perfect. Here's part 2 of the redacted word-for-word transcription. All identifying information remains replaced with redacted, while all structure, numbering, and legal wording are preserved exactly. 23. Redacted stated that we needed to talk immediately because she wanted to be alone and her assistant, redacted Yoa, never leaves her side. 24. During that conversation, redacted acknowledged that some of the negative statements that I had seen were true and then attempted to justify them. 25. Because redacted does not always accurately represent verbal conversations, I recorded the conversation. 26. After our friendship ended, redacted initiated repeated contact with me to make accusations I knew to be false and to demand I stop speaking about her, even with mutual acquaintances. 27. After redacted's initial contact, I exchanged several texts with her on April 21 to 26, 2025, regarding her accusations and demands. The texts are expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D-2. 28. Redacted unblocked me multiple times so that she could state her demands and accusations without allowing me any response. 29. Redacted's last text to me was on April 22nd, 2025. It again made false accusations about my conduct and demanded that I refrain from speaking publicly about her. 30. I have not initiated contact with Redacted since March 12, 2025, when I contacted her for a referral for my neighbor. 31. I have not communicated with Redacted directly or indirectly since April 21st, 2025. However, Redacted unblocked me in August 2025 to remove things from one of our conversations, and I received an alert that she had done so. 32. Also, on June 5th, 2025, I traveled to Arizona to attend a portion of the Redacted trial. I was in Arizona for only 24 hours. 33. While seated between Redacted and another friend in the waiting area, I saw Redacted wave at me in an attempt to engage. 34. I ignored her and did not respond. This was another example of Redacted initiating contact with me, not the other way around. 35. Redacted tried to call me twice on June 10, 2025, but I did not answer or return her call. An image depicting the missed calls is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D-3. 36. Also sent me a lengthy text message saying that she felt sad that I had my feelings hurt and wanted to have a private conversation. I did not respond. A copy of these texts is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D-4. S. Conduct towards others, 37. Since April 2025, I have learned of multiple instances where Redacted has behaved strangely and obsessively toward my friends who are also former friends and acquaintances of Redacted. 38. On April 11th, 2025, Redacted sent Redacted a cease and desist letter containing numerous demands aimed at curbing Redacted's speech. The cease and desist letter is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D-5. 39. Notwithstanding the cease and desist letter, Redacted has taken purposeful steps to contact and communicate with Redacted. Redacted describes these in detail in her declaration submitted concurrently herewith. Redacted sent a similar letter to another mutual acquaintance, Redacted. 40. The Redacted declaration describes 2 alleged instances in Boise involving Redacted and others. I was in Europe when these occurred, and I learned about them only later. Redacted and Redacted recount what occurred in their declarations submitted concurrently herewith. 41. I have since received the Boise Police Department report, along with copies of the videos Redacted submitted to the Boise Police. Some of the videos were of my posts online, even though I was not in Boise when the alleged incidents occurred. 42. In the report, the officer stated that Redacted provided me with videos of 2 different incidents, including the incident at Redacted. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in the videos. 43. At no point did I ask, encourage, or facilitate any of my friends or anyone else to contact Redacted. 44. Indeed, in a majority of instances, Redacted herself provoked the encounter with me in and before April and recently at Redacted event and my friends. Redacted and Redacted have engaged in a pattern of entering spaces where I already am. Redacted's efforts to prevent public discourse. 45. As is evident from the Redacted declarations and Redacted declaration, Redacted's main issue is with public statements that I have allegedly made about Redacted. 46. Redacted mischaracterizes many of these statements or describes them vaguely to misconstrue them or present them out of context. 47. For example, redacted alleges that I mocked a police officer when in fact I merely pointed out inaccuracies in what the officer told me, as is my right. A recording of my post is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D6. 48. Omits any discussion of the context of that video, which was that I was contacted by the Henderson, Nevada Police Department after redacted contacted police in June 2025 to report that I and others were sharing private communications we had with redacted. 49. I expect to offer in my defense a copy of the Henderson police report as Exhibit D7, in which the officer states that she did not find extortion, no text messages were intercepted, and redacted's private messages were not hacked. Would you like me to proceed directly with part 3?
Almost done, guys. I just want to get Christina's side out.
Section, part 3, transcribed word for word with all names and other personal identifiers replaced by redacted while preserving formatting, numbering, and structure. 86. Similarly, the declaration claims that redacted needed anxiety medication to manage the effects I was causing, when I know from personal interactions with redacted that she had received mental health treatment, including medication, well before the issues alleged in the redacted declaration. 87. I did not cause, nor is it reasonable for redacted or redacted to claim that I caused any of the issues they allege simply by A, exercising my freedom of speech, and B, addressing the public about matters of public interest. 88. I am not obsessed with redacted as she claims. I have simply responded when she has involved me or when she has made false or misleading public statements. I believe that redacted is singularly fixated on preventing me from engaging in public discourse regarding any information about or even related to redacted that redacted deems hurtful or harmful. 89. None of my public posts show redacted's face, use her name, or encourage others to contact her. I express my opinion on matters of public concern and of interest to my subscribers, followers, and friends. 90. Redacted and redacted have both engaged in conduct toward me and redacted and others that strongly contradicts their testimony, such as reaching out to me by phone and taking purposeful steps to put herself in the same location and physical proximity with us. 91. Redacted's public posts also contradict her and redacted's testimony that they have experienced fear or emotional distress. 92. For example, while the redacted declarations state that she was incapacitated by fear for months, she was actively creating, publishing, and promoting content on podcasts and social media during that same period. 93. Redacted has published live content over 100 times since April 9th, 2025. She has posted hundreds of pre-recorded videos and or podcast episodes during the same time period across the various platforms she uses. 94. On July 6th, 2025, Redacted and her husband posted a podcast episode called Cults and Conformity, in which they discuss a variety of topics, including interpersonal relationships, the nature of cults and communities, family dynamics, conformity, cyberbullying, and AI regulation. 95. Multiple times in the episode, Redacted mentions how she has always liked chaos, though not necessarily the kind of chaos that hurts people. 96. Redacted also described how she does not like conformity, and, for that reason, many people do not like her. Her husband casually mentioned that their company had experienced growing pains due to negative interactions with the public. 97. The episode contains no indication that Redacted was afraid, distressed, or panicking, which directly contradicts Redacted and Redacted's testimony that they were unable to function in daily life, and that this situation had persisted for 4 months. 98. It also contradicts Redacted's testimony that Redacted's husband, a licensed psychologist, purportedly the very next morning confided in Redacted that Redacted was suicidal and rocking in bed just hours after posting the episode. 99. Around the same time, Redacted also appeared on another podcast where she shared her thoughts and personal details about her life. 100. Again, this contradicts Redacted's and Redacted's testimony that she was living in fear and unable to function. 101. Instead, it illustrates how Redacted is using this proceeding to attempt to quash legitimate public discourse on topics and issues that she has spoken about in various media. 102. More recently, on August 2nd, 2025, Redacted appeared on a podcast where she announced that she would attend Redacted event and discussed numerous other topics. To date, the episode has over 12,000 views and approximately 250 comments. 103. I declare under...
So she just basically declares everything she stated in this declaration is true. But, again, it's important to get the other side out there because it seems like this little media tour that Lauren has done, is unfair in regards to like the balance of like the public getting both sides in the full story here. And there's so much more. There's also someone tied to her who used to do co-hosts with her on her channel that she basically just said like, I don't need you anymore. And then she shared that Lori Hellis's book PDF out to numerous people. Like there's a whole, it's such a deep rabbit hole, but what do you final thoughts, Jay? And you want to talk about what you have planned for tomorrow night on your channel?
Thank you very much. And for having me on and for this great live, and also for mentioning my channel and promoting it as much as well. But my final thoughts would be, you're right. Like it shows that even if she has a bigger audience and bigger numbers, that the truth will out in the end. And that's the thing that's hurting her the most, is that, all of her claims have been exposed to be false and completely distorted, and it's a level of abuse of the system, and that whatever credibility, the credibility she's built for herself, I think is all but lost completely in my eyes anyway. I can't speak for other people, but for me, I won't be going to her for any kind of analysis on any kind of true crime or psychology or anything like that. But thank you very much. And maybe tomorrow I have planned a live on my channel where I'll be discussing the current gambling scandal involving the mafia and NBA players, along with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. And Andrew recently lost his royal titles, and I'll be talking about Virginia Giuffre's recent book, which I have read, not completely, but most of. And I think I'm going to try and read it all before I go live. And a few other cases as well, the Jeffrey and Eleanor Donaldson case in Ireland. And but that's about it. But thank you for letting me do that, and thank you for having me on as always, and being such a great host.
Thank you. I appreciate you joining me. You're a great co-host and always enjoy your insight. So yeah, guys, check out Jay tomorrow night if you're not busy and you want to talk about those topics. I know that the betting thing with I sound like such a girl. That sports thing going on right now is crazy.
That thing they call the ball game, whatever it's called.
Yeah. No, but I have seen a lot of headlines with that, so it should be interesting.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Okay, bye. So I just want to end it with, because the thing is, like, if they're premiering something, I know that people have already decided to go watch, like, what has Lauren got to say in Spin Now. Unfortunately, I really think that it's going to be a lot of damage control, and it's just going to keep spiraling. People are still going to pick apart what she's saying and compare it to other things she's stated. And like I said, Lori Hellis was somebody who did, I guess, Friday night weekly streams together with Lauren in the early days of their YouTube or podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but initially it was them. And then all of a sudden it was kind of like Lauren got what she wanted from her. It seemed, this is my opinion, how I saw it from the outside, got what she wanted from Lori, decided, I don't need you every Friday anymore. Thank you. Lori, she was threatened by Lori's research and all that in the Lori Vallow case. And when Lori Hellis comes out with her book, Lauren tells everybody like, oh, I didn't send her manuscript to anybody. in her 9-hour stream. I only sent it to one person to fact check. First off, why are you sending it to people to fact check? So then one person, when someone says they only sent it to one person, you really believe that? I personally don't. And then so Lori Hellis has come out and kind of given her side of things. So check her out. I think her channel is called Lori Hellis. You guys help me out in chat if not, but yeah. So Nate Eaton is also kind of being tied into all this, because it's like, if Lauren has all this following and this huge platform, people I think like she must be telling the truth. She's got a lot to lose. She's not going to lie. I've seen the comments. I trust her, and she's been around for a while, and look at all the subs she has, blah blah blah. Well, Nate Eaton is on East Idaho News. He broke a lot of the early developments in the Daybell case, went down to Hawaii. You can see that whole segment in my intro because it was just very compelling journalism, and he's kind of tied into this whole thing too. So I made a little short clipping it, so I'll leave it on this note, and you guys take it for what you will.
Nate Eaton called me, and I had a conversation with him. And here's what he told me. He told me that he was in the courthouse. This would have been during the Chad Daybell trial. Now, would have been during Chad's trial. He called me and told me that he was in line waiting to get into the courtroom, and he was standing there with Justin Lum. And Nate said to Justin, and Justin and Nate have gotten to be good friends over covering the Daybell trial. And Nate said to Justin Lum, "Hey, I got Lori Hellis's book. Did you get a copy?" And Justin said yes, that he had gotten a copy. Lauren was standing right in front of them in line, and she turned around to Nate and said, "Oh, hey, I haven't gotten my copy yet. Could you forward that to me?" And Nate did. Lauren was never intended to get a copy. She was never, it was never intended that Lauren get a copy of the book, but she lied to Nate, and that's how the book got sent. So I'm going to share this, and I'm going to tell you now that I have been struggling all day.
It's a screenshot.
Stop screen. I have been struggling all day to try and get this PDF to turn around.
It's a
and I
private
can't get it
message
to
thread.
turn. And when I look at it on my screen, it is horizontal. But so I'll keep working on that, and I will post it in our community tab. This is a screenshot
Everything's on
of
our
a
community
Facebook
tab
group
too.
that this person was in. And this is what it says. The first post is from Lauren Matthias. And it says, "Thanks to Nate Eaton, I have Hellis's book. Anybody want a copy? Anyone want a copy?"
Oops.
That sort of goes against what she was saying, was that she only sent it to Nate Eaton called me.
All right.
And I
So
had a
that
conversation
is
with
that.
him. And he
That is that. Again, she has posted like the screenshots and other things to her community page. So go check that out, Lori Hellis. All right. So I appreciate Jay and Sleuthy, Jen Lou coming up here, all you guys being in chat. Hit that like button. Keep us, out there in the algorithm. We're going to follow this. Allison, that I'm beside myself with the letter that they had him write for the court, like stating the whole, like, she was rocking and he's worried about her mental health and all this stuff. And yet she hasn't like checked herself into the hospital. Like if you say to somebody that like you're having those types of thoughts, like they can literally call the cops and like say, I'm worried about their safety, and the cops will come and be like, I think you should go to the hospital because you stated, like, if it's in, say it was a text message or in writing or something where they've said, we have proof that like you're like worried or that you're going to harm yourself. Yeah. 5150. It's called other things in other states too, but like I'm just like amazed that like something like that hasn't happened, where like if this was a real situation, like why didn't Grayson or somebody else say like, it's time that, with everything that she kind of painted it as, like you should have checked yourself in the hospital then. No, and it's not anything to shame you on. There's no shame in it. I know people who have gone through postpartum depression who have stepped up and said, I can't get out of this. I need help. I'm sorry. I need to go and rest. And they check themselves in. That's how it was portrayed to her whole audience. And that's how she went on this media tour on other channels, portraying it as that, like, she really had those dark thoughts and like couldn't believe that she was in this position. Like, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. And again, it's not, there's no shame in saying like, I need to go get some help because of what's going on, especially if you're going to come out and like say it to your subscribers and people who throw money at you. It's like, are you doing it? Is this real? Or are you just getting sympathy? Like, I don't know, to get ahead of something that she doesn't want to come out. I know. And this is where it gets to the point where like, I don't want to just sit here and talk crap, but let's be real with the type of stuff that was being stated, like in these declarations that like were, and then on her 9-hour stream, like if that was the reality, why didn't it go into the direction of like, I had to log off for YouTube for months and this is why I did it. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not the only one either who has kind of been like, why didn't this end up a different way? Like if you were really thinking that way. Yeah, I think the rumors about her, which I didn't get to say to my panel, but I know that they'll agree because they've all kind of touched on it in their own ways and like behind the scenes in private talk. There's rumors that she badmouthed certain victims in the cases and their family members. And I believe that that has a lot to do with this, like trying to shut up her ex-friends. So, yeah, it's time for a screen break. Like if that is what was going on, you need to step away from YouTube. Everything that she stated about her son, if that is all true, you need to step away from YouTube, I think. So Jay says, I agree, Christine. If you're traumatized about something, you don't laugh about it. And that's the other thing too, the laughing. I don't know if I'll be able to, I think I have it on my phone. I sent it in a message. Might be able to pull it up because that is a good kind of something to step up. Oh no. Alex Erickson, I sent her the link to join and I just got a message from her saying, sorry, I couldn't join. I hit a deer tonight and she just sent a picture. Poor girl. Oh my gosh, that's so scary. There's something this. Let me see if I can see. I know you guys have seen it because I think a drama channel clipped it. But I think it's a good note to kind of end on. Like if we're talking about the severity that we've been talking as far as stalkers and, this being a real thing, this kind of is huge evidence against that being true. So after they did their stream, not tonight, obviously they did, now they're speaking out again on YouTube, but they weren't for this past week. They were only speaking out on Patreon. For those who don't know, you have to pay. And there's tiers that you can pay too. So this is what was from Patreon. Somebody clipped it and shared it.
Oh, they're listening. Go ahead.
Thanks for being a Patreon member.
Dude, you can't put that in.
I don't know what else to say. It's weird, but
very weird.
Well, I guess
Very
I could say thanks to
fucking
all of our Patreons except our stalkers. Like, I don't know. That's weird.
No, I'm grateful for that too. Supporting our
No,
channel.
why don't we say thanks to our Patreons, including our stalkers. And hey, if you guys really want the scoop, you're gonna have to upgrade your tier level.
Yeah. You want all the private texts.
Yeah, please upgrade your tier level to get the full Patreon experience.
Oof. Yeah, as we sit here and laugh and giggle and thank you to this shame. Someone else.
Yep. So if you're scared for your life according to your thumbnail and your media tour on other channels. But you're on Patreon, knowing that your stalker is still paying for the membership, even though you could block them. You could block them and not accept their money, not accept them being able to watch your Patreon, but instead you're just going to laugh and, joke around about the situation because you think it's just your Patreon members who are like your trusted group. Somebody screenshot that and shared it. So, well, sometimes I laugh because I'm uncomfortable. Right, but if you're terrified and you're having these dark thoughts like she stated for 9 hours, etc., like she didn't laugh at all in that 9 hours about the situation. In fact, she did the exact opposite. Take it for what you will, guys. Take it for what you will. But I'm just not on board with this whole thing. I think that it's really just trying to shut people up who you're afraid knows more about things that you don't want to come out, and it could ruin your whole reputation in true crime. So again, stalking, not sure. Not seeing it yet. Deco, good to see you. We are done for the evening. But I will hopefully follow up with more information. Maybe there'll be more stuff. I mean, we still have that whole spreadsheet that we haven't really gone through. We just went through Christina's declaration. So the more I hear about this, the more I don't see the threat she claims. People are getting duped. I think so too. And it really hurts my feelings to see good people getting duped by this. But yes, I talk to you guys Sunday. I might hop on Jay's channel tomorrow night and discuss the cases that he's discussing. We'll see. It is my little one's birthday this week. So he just turned 1 year old and we're celebrating it this weekend, probably tomorrow actually. So we'll see. But either way, I hope you guys join me for Sunday night because it is our Watts discussion. I can understand that too, Teacup. She says, sometimes I cry without tears when I want people to think I'm upset. Right. Exactly. I agree. And that's the thing is 9 hours, 9-hour streams. Not once did she reach for a tissue or like a toilet paper roll. Like I have bad allergies. So we always have like Kleenex or tissues or toilet paper like nearby, especially if I'm going to be like streaming. She did a whole 9 hours. I think she maybe took one bathroom break, talked about how she hasn't eaten and slept in days, but she had full makeup, hair done pristinely. I mean, if you're in this vulnerable state, like her in her bed, like to me, that looked all staged. Like people were like, look at her. She's so vulnerable. It's like, she's doing exactly what you do when you're on social media and you're trying to do damage control. You set up in your bedroom and you look all vulnerable, like you're sharing something to your audience. You've never showed that side of yourself to them, etc. Like on the surface, I fell for it for the first 5-10 minutes of her stream. I was like, this is terrible. Oh my gosh. And then I seen her stalkers, her stalkers TikTok. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is just like two women who had a falling out. Like that's it. And I think that there are some aspects of Christina's TikToks and content that are definitely red flag and unhinged, but I'm not on board with the theory that this is how these stalking incidences escalate and then they turn into murder. Like, I'm not there yet. Like, I don't, in fact, her alleged stalker hadn't even posted on her TikTok since like almost a month now. Like, I think October 9th was the last one. Like, it's almost November. Like, everything's just kind of stopped. Caroline knows. But okay, see you guys Sunday night, and then maybe you'll see me on panels throughout the week and all that, discussing this, and maybe I'll put together us to go through the spreadsheet next Friday. If you guys want to do that, let me know. As far as Kohberger updates, I mean, I don't know if there's anything that pops out in these documents that's very like groundbreaking we need to talk about. Of course, I'll bring it to you guys next Friday too. Okay. So I'll see you guys on Sunday.